Hello everyone, welcome to Morning Briefing on Aspheric TV. I am Dayo Olujuwon Ekuni.
Mustafa Abdul Malik is my name.
How was your night, Mr.
It's okay, it's okay.
Well, let's go to top happenings making headlines in front pages of Nigeria's national newspapers. Nigerian Tribune. Rivers floods federal government cut bars direct funding of police from Federation account. Others refund to Rivers. The Guardian. Governors Labour kick as NNPC presents 3 trillion naira subsidy bill to FEC. Daily Trust. Federal government approves 3 trillion naira for subsidy, warns of tough times ahead. First News. NNPC demands straight still the same thing, 3 trillion naira for fuel subsidy. The Punch. Governors NLC doubt fuel consumption. NNPC demands 3 trillion naira for subsidy. The Guardian. PM accused of lying over rescue of animals during fall of Kabul. Financial Times. ECB warns Europe's bank over risk in Russia-Ukraine sanctions. Daily Independent. Federal government. Everyone is saying the same thing. It's all about the 3 trillion naira fuel subsidy that NNPC is requesting from the federal government. Right now we'll go on a quick break, and when we come back we'll get to do a roundup of all the major headlines in Nigeria's dailies. Welcome back, everyone. The presidency has denied that the decision to suspend the removal of fuel subsidy by President Muhammad Buhari has any political undertones. Speaking on Wednesday, the special advisor to the president on media and publicity, Femi Adesina, explained that the decision has no link to the 2023 general election as it has been speculated in some quarters. Well, Adesina submitted that after due consultation and consideration, the federal government came to a conclusion that the timing wasn't right, as it's caused more hardship for Nigerians, hence the decision to suspend plans to remove fuel subsidy in the country. Well, he said the decision was taken in the interest of Nigerians. According to reports, the presidential spokesperson made this known during an appearance on Channel's television Sunrise daily program. So, Mr. Musti, what do you have to say about this?
Well, I actually watched that program where Femi Adesina was trying to making an explanation. You understand? There is no any time that would say it's appropriate for an important government policy like removal of the fuel subsidy. You understand? Nigeria being a low-income country, we're already been burdened with inflation, which is almost heading towards hyperinflation. So we already been burdened with inflation. The income has been battered. So Femi Adesina said he was more or less reacting to critics that are trying to link the suspension of the removal to politics, whereby he said something. He said, look, there is every possibility that come 2023 APC will still win and form the government. That he was like reacting to those critics now that, look, are you people saying that APC is playing politics within itself? So, you understand? So, to me, the whole thing about the subsidy removal is more of an economic decision
than political.
But even health, there is element of politics. There's nothing that you could talk about in a civil society without politics. You understand? So now government is now saying they require so amount of money to offset. That is, after we have refused to remove the subsidy, we require so amount of money for the subsidy to pay as 2022 subsidy. Where is the money going to come from? Already, the appropriation budget, which is 17 trillion, part of this 3 trillion is captured in that, but not all. You understand? Mm-hmm. So, where is the government going to get the money to fund the subsidy? That is a problem. Part of the 17 trillion, I think about 40% or 50% is going to come through borrowing, because our revenue cannot sustain us at the moment. So that is the thing.
And now NNPC is requesting for 3 trillion naira for fuel subsidy. And
that is what I'm saying.
According to the Minister of Finance, Zainab Ahmed, she said that they only have 443 billion naira.
Meaning less than 15% of the 3 trillion. That is what they have.
Trillion. So it's scary.
It's scary. So you understand? You see, the whole thing about the current system now is that we tend to elevate politics than facing the actual scenario, which is more of economics. You understand? So already from 2016 to present, we have been running a deficit budget. The deficit budget means that we don't have surplus. We don't have surplus revenue to match with our projected budget. So when it comes to that, what is required is support of all Nigerians. You discover that Nigerians are not ready to give their support. Come to the aspect of this subsidy removal. We have seen it before in 2016 that government hike the price of the fuel by almost 70 to 80%, from 87 naira to 145 naira or so. So which is almost like 90% or thereabout, or 100%. So you discover that from that increase till present, we have not been able to recover from the shock, because prices of everything shoot up. You understand? Everything about in Nigeria is tied down to fuel. When you are talking about transportation, it's fuel. So you understand, there are a lot of shrewd information that government is not presenting to the general public. You discover that the independent, for instance, now it was only 2 days ago that government decided to say, we are suspending fuel subsidy removal. But there are a kind of cartel behind this insisting on this removal. We all know that without removing this subsidy, government will continue to spend a very chunk of their revenue on subsidy. So what government ought to have done was to pursue the aspect of putting in order the refineries. Up to now, the refineries are operating they are not operating. I think towards the end of last year, the NNPC said the 4 refineries have not produced this, but this is how much they have spent on the refinery. Meaning, in business wise, they are running at loss. Thank God now the NNPC has been unbundled. It has went public. It's now a PLC. So it will take time to start running like a business. It's like NNPC is no more like a government entity whereby government has everything here, but now they are operating more like a business. So what NNPC is saying now is that we will require 3 trillion to fund the subsidy. So where is the money going to come from?
And
is it the government that will give them the money, or how? So because you understand the technicalities, NNPC is now a business entity now, meaning some people will invest their money through shareholding. So if you are investing your money in NNPC through shareholding, you are expecting dividend. So you understand? So NNPC is no longer the Father Christmas. You understand? NNPC is no longer the Father Christmas, and government, he said that government will now decide to fall back on borrowing. So Nigerians should expect more borrowing. So we have been crying that. Let me tell you that or something. Something is worrisome, is disturbing. Something disturbing is there. Nigeria presently is using about 70 to 80% of their revenue to service debt. So, and we keep borrowing, piling up debt. So it's I really sympathize with. If you are not in the government, you will not know. So even experts then know that there is a problem at hand. 3 trillion is enough to transform certain things, but like I keep on saying here, that the kind of politics that we played, especially the opposition then, who are the present ruling party, the kind of opposition they played then is haunting them. You understand? There is this viral video whereby President Muhammadu Buhari himself said, look, then when he was vying, he said, look, who is subsidizing who? That if anybody tell you that they are subsidizing anything, that is a fraud. I cannot quote him verbatim, but that is exactly what he said. So now he is talking about removal of subsidy. Who is subsidizing what? So you understand, that is the case now. So you discover that on this issue of subsidy removal is something that needs dialogue, conversation, wide conversation with both stakeholders and organized private sector and Nigerians. So it needs a common ground to say, okay, this thing is no longer sustainable. We cannot continue with this thing because it's draining our budget. So if we cannot continue it, what's best price should we have as a benchmark for PMS? That is a petroleum product. So you understand? But Nigerians are not ready to to listen. You understand? That is where the politics are you not panicking? Let me even tell you another thing now. Before now, what I heard was that the independent marketers, these are very strong cartel. So they have been hoarding. They invested massively in the importation of this fuel. Store them ahead of total removal. So whereby
and that's why it's so difficult now.
So now you discover that in the city of Abuja now you see a long queue. So in some states now you discover that they have adjusted their meter, whereby we are selling at that government regulated price, but the quantity you are getting is not at the actual quantity per liter.
Imagine you get fuel into your car.
And the fuel that you are sometimes last week you are getting fuel for, let's say, 10,000 naira, you are getting this, but you discover that 10,000 naira is not getting the amount again. So you discover that Nigerians were opportunists. Don't, as a regulator, as a government, don't give them that opportunity to squeeze Nigerians. So these independent marketers, they are so strong. Their jetties in Apapa they stocked enough fuel with the expectation that once the government removed that subsidy on Monday or so, they will hike the price. They were expecting to hike the price to over 300 naira per liter. So now that the government has refused, so you are now seeing we are paying the price through suffering. So it's a pity. So we need wider conversation on this subsidy removal.
Well, to what concerning what you just said, the presidency has declared that the people of Nigeria will have to bear the effect of the government having to continue paying subsidy on petrol. Speaking on Wednesday, that's Femi Adesina, that same interview, when he shed more light on the decision of the federal government to postpone the plan to stop paying subsidy. Femi Adesina said the government may have to continue borrowing to meet financial demands.
See, the borrowing will still continue. We all know this, that look, And you understand the whole thing. You cannot blame the government. Why? Our economy is monolithic economy, whereby we have only one source of revenue,
and that's
oil. And since the coming of this present administration, the price of the crude oil at the international market has been going down, we're thereby affecting our revenue. So you discover that government has to like fall back on borrowing. You understand? Whether the government like it or not, they must fall back on borrowing. It's like when you require 100 naira for your expenditure as an individual, you require 100 naira for your expenditure, but you are getting only 60 naira. So the 40 naira, where are you going to get from? He said that you fall back on borrowing, or you steal. So that is the problem.
And the more we keep borrowing, the more
you see, that is where the problem comes. Stagnant. That is what we don't know. You understand? You discover that the issue of our naira is becoming too weak against the dollar. It has to do with there are balance of payment, there is balance of trade, whereby there is foreign reserve. Already our foreign reserve, which is supposed to booster our naira, has been depleted. Because we don't have surplus. When we don't have surplus, the government has to dip its hand into foreign reserve. You understand? I don't have the actual figure of what our foreign reserve stand at this present time, but I think as at 2015, when the former administration left, I think we had like 42 billion in our foreign reserve, which has been touched. It's like it's Nigerians' money. Foreign reserve supposed to like give a buffer to the naira, because Nigeria is a consumer nation. We require dollar at all costs. We require dollar. Is that foreign reserve, which is in the foreign account, that's supposed to give a buffer support to naira? Well, since we don't have much there again, you discover that naira continues to be weak every day. So, and Nigeria must import. We don't produce. Our import is supersede our export. What we export only is just oil. So you discover that the price of the crude oil is falling. The government revenue is shrinking. As the revenue is shrinking, you discover that government must meet up with its obligation to Nigerians. We require roads, railway, health, and don't forget the aspect of COVID-19. The COVID-19 again added to our woes as a nation. So several countries have gone into recession due to COVID, but Nigeria somehow will still manage to remain. So there is another dimension to it, which we have not even considered. The aspect of energy around the world now is suffering due to COVID-19. So some of the problem is not peculiar to only Nigeria alone, but the aspect of politics I told you, nobody want to list it. It's about PDP, APC, PDP, APC, everything, APC. Politics. That is it. So nobody, even if government has genuine concern for sympathy, nobody wants to sympathize with the government. You understand? In some places they will tell you that nobody will carry yourself come. You say you want to give us a solution, but instead of solution you have
make things worse.
So that is it.
Well, the presidency has blasted Benue State Governor Samuel Ortom, describing him as a failed politician, always looking for excuses. Well, the senior special assistant to President Muhammadu Buhari on media and publicity, Garba Shehu, leveled the allegation against the Benue State Governor on Wednesday morning. Shehu, in a series of posts via his Twitter account, said Ortom has failed woefully as a governor and politician, adding that it is surprising that even the People's Democratic Party (PDP) has continued to allow him within its folds. And we understand that the presidential media aide was responding to claims by Samuel Ortom during a recent interview with Arise TV, in which he blamed President Muhammadu Buhari for failing to revive the economy or tackle rising challenges of insecurity in Nigeria. But in response, Shehu said while Buhari has been working hard to correct the wrongs of previous PDP administration in the country. Ortom has failed to do anything meaningful for the people of Benue, but choose to blame the president for his own failures. This is
you see,
really political.
I used to hold back whenever the president media men they take to the media or to the press to speak. You understand? It seems as if they are at war.
Yeah, that's the way it's looking.
They are always aggressive. So to me, if you ask me, I would say Garba Shehu ought to have disregard Ortom, because whenever Ortom and the federal government, Governor Ortom and the federal government or the presidency, to say, it's like they have this cat and dog relationship over the incidences in herdsmen incidences in Benue. You understand? Although Governor Ortom on his own, he usually go out of his way, because as a governor, the president would give you listening ear. You understand?
Yes.
You have access to the president whenever you want to get across to him. Most times, Governor Ortom himself, he will go through the press and lambast the president, and the media men to the president, instead of them to disregard, they will still go to the same
That's
media
looking
again.
like immaturity.
And you discover that what it means, they are attracting sympathy from Nigerians to Governor Ortom. You understand? So which is not in order. Instead of when you have come across that kind of situation, disregard that person. You understand? Take for instance like Femi Adesina. Until his present political move to APC, federal government used to disregard him. He will keep on talking, but because government disregarded him, when he became tired, he now look for a way of becoming part of them. You understand?
If you can't beat them,
So,
join them.
You know, see, Garba Shehu is this media spokesperson to the senior media aide to President Buhari. Whether Governor Ortom grant an interview castigating the president or not, disregard him. But they are doing their work, they must respond. But what he failed to understand, that within the ambit of your response, there are Nigerians. Governor Ortom is speaking to attract support from Nigerians. Likewise, the media aide to the president is speaking to attract attention of Nigerians. So at the end of the day, the ball will be within the Nigerian court to look at it. So to some of us, government is winning cheap sympathy to Governor Ortom. Governor Ortom himself, he said, he just came out recently to say something, that is owing only 6 months' salaries. A situation like that, that a governor is owing 6 months' salary, is it a good thing? So you understand that alone, that particular statement alone is enough to earn him bad name. But you discover that when the president media aides are coming out to say, okay, they are to lambast him, doing that, at the end of the day, they will win cheap sympathy to the governor. Why? Because of this politics of herdsmen crisis in Benue. What is Governor Ortom strong point? He said, look, these people, they don't like me because of what? I came up with anti-grazing law, anti-open grazing law, and since then the president is not happy with me. So whatever criticism that the president media aide is bringing on now, Nigerians will still look at it as if you guys don't like this man, you don't like this governor because of this anti-grazing law. So that is the cheap sympathy that the Governor Ortom is getting. So they should disregard him. Whether he has a dividend of the democracy to prove to his people or not, it's left for the Benue people to complain. But the Benue people, they are not complaining. So that is it.
I think that's crisis management issue there.
If you look at, like I told you,
Crisis
if you look at
management issue.
Femi Adesina, Garba Shehu, the two of them, they are quick to rush to use using their social media handle it seems as if they must react to every, even if it's intangible criticism, they must react to it. So you understand, it seems as if they have not really understand the body language of Nigerians towards the government. They need to, they should go out of their way to study, to say, okay, how are Nigerians feeling about us? If whatever thing they write, they will just write concocted things to have to like paint a scenario of Nigerians enjoying the government is doing this. We should go beyond that. To me, President Muhammadu Buhari is not just a normal politician. He's a statesman. You understand? He's a retired general, a former head of state. It's not like a normal politician, to say a regular Nigerian politician, like people like Atiku that would dwell on lying and here and there. So people are expecting much from President Muhammadu Buhari. Yes.
Well, the presidency has dismissed the report of Transparency International (TI) on corruption in Nigeria. Well, according to reports, the organization had on Tuesday ranked Nigeria 154 out of 180 countries on the 2021 Global Corruption Perception Index. CPI. It dropped from 149 in the 2020 index. In a report released in Abuja by Transparency International's representative in Nigeria, the Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center CISLAC said Nigeria scored 24 out of a total possible point of 100 in the 2021 CPI. TI said the report is based on methodological study, adding that claims by the Muhammadu Buhari government to be fighting corruption has not yielded much results. Speaking on Wednesday in an interview on Channels Television, presidential spokesman Femi Adesina said the report released by the organization is baseless. Adesina stated that the Buhari administration does not need the organization's report to validate the ongoing war against corruption, adding that the government is making headway in the fight. He said the Buhari administration has fought corruption and all anti-corruption agencies are making efforts to ensure corruption is reduced in the country. He also asked Nigerians to ignore the report because it is foreign statistics, noting that the people should be the ones given such a report and not a foreign organization. Don't you see that it's funny?
You see, Femi Adesina is a media man. He knows the process to these things. Transparency International, in international relations, we call them international administration. You understand? These are international bodies. They have no binding on any sovereign nation, any sovereign country, but their reports are vital. Their reports in a nation like a US make use of their report. Take for instance like Amnesty International, whereby they monitor human rights violation around the world. You understand? The report by Amnesty International is being used by several countries and place a country abusing human relation into the place that they belong to, including sanctions. Transparency International is now saying that, look, Nigeria now slide from so position to about 2 steps or so. You understand? So these are organizations whereby they didn't sit in one place to rate you. They have their indicators that they use in the, just like when you are a teacher. Before you grade somebody, you have what you use. You have your benchmark that you use in your grading. That is how they use it. They said, okay, Nigeria scored 24 over 100, which means that Nigeria is not like even 50%, only 24%. So, and they have their indicators, they have their indices, what they use to measure and measure this ranking. So, Femi Adesina is just speaking like a normal person that is being paid to say, okay, do your work, you speak. You understand? If you really want to prove the Transparency International wrong in their statement, it should provide facts And and I can tell you that TI2, they will present their own fact too. You understand? One of the facts is that the procurement procedure, is it being abused? When we're talking about corruption, it's not that that kind of corruption that you see, you accuse policemen of taking. No.
Yeah.
Your budgetary process, is it transparent? It's here that we on the pages of media, you could hear that budget has been padded. You understand? The Transparency International, they have their agents here. They monitor it. If the budget has been padded, during the oversight function by the at the National Assembly, that is when the budget will be padded. At the end of the day, you know, budget is just a financial statement, a projection for that particular year. It's not like the money, the quote is being given. No. But what is their agencies, their agents, their TI agents here, what they do is that they monitor the process. You understand? They monitor the process. You discover that when you are quoting like 100 billion for one road, whereas the TI, their agents here, they will go through underground to do their own feasibility on that particular project in Nigeria here, and making comparison with other countries too, whereby better roads are being constructed at lesser value than what we are quoting here. So at the end of the day, the money will still be allocated. These are corruption processes. You understand? The media here, they are reporting. It's on the pages of newspapers. So Transparency International will now use the data in their grading. So it's not about coming out to debunk that they don't know what they are doing. Nigerians should disregard that. But
they want to judge.
Take it like you cannot be the judge of over your own case. You understand? This is an international body. They are on their own. Whether you like it or not, they will do their own findings and submit their report. And international organization, countries too, make use of the report. Tomorrow now, if you see that we are refusing to sell this to you because of corruption in Nigeria, probably Femi Adesina will not be in office then again, but will bear the consequences. So what that kind of report is meant, it's not meant to become a political issue or something of taking up on them. No. What they are telling you is to sit up, work on corruption. That is what we are expecting from Nigeria, not to say to come on the media to start say they are, as if you are fighting them. You are not fighting them. It's a wake-up call. The report is a wake-up call to the government to say, look, your corruption fighting is good, but you are not doing enough. Sit back and do it.
Well, the federal government has reviewed plans to impose the same condition given to Twitter on all other social media platforms accessible in the country. Well, according to reports, the part of the terms reached between the government and the microblogging platform is to immediately enroll Nigerians in its law enforcement portals and partners support portal. The law enforcement portal will provide rooms for the Nigerian Law Enforcement Agency to escalate reports on content that violates the code of conduct of the national laws. Well, that's a new development.
You see, what invariably what they are saying is that you as aspheric, you have become too big. They are now assuming that you are Lord to yourself. But the thing is that what they are saying is that in aspheric, you have a member of police here. You have DSS here. Will you take that? Will you take that? Dayo, let me ask you, will you take that?
No.
So, Twitter or all these social media
platforms,
tech, they are private entities. Government should be more concerned that are they abusing the law? You understand? Are they paying their revenue, their taxes as at when due? You understand? So the aspect of saying, okay, you want to have government law enforcement implanted in the operation of the distance, they can't even do it. You understand? To me, I just see it like that the government is like doing a kind of a damage control over the ban of Twitter, because to me, I don't see any government gaining anything from the ban. You understand? The ban, at the end of the day, will lose over 50 billion or thereabout. Is it 50 billion or 500 billion from businesses?
I think I'm not really sure about it.
So we lost within that 7 months of that ban. You understand? So, and at the end of the day, Twitter doesn't have its office in Nigeria up to now. You understand? It's the government that is telling you that, look, Twitter has agreed to have an office here. So now they are still talking about, they said, okay, you have a... No, it's all about what the government is not saying. They don't want to just come out openly. What they are saying is an attempt to regulate social media. You understand? By the time you said, okay, you have give access to Twitter, government Twitter decide to give access to government to say, okay, come and see the number of subscribers we have in Nigeria, and come and see, take a look, review the content before we post. It means they are trying to like censor the activity of Nigerians on these social media platforms. You understand? You know, they have tried it through a legal framework at the National Assembly, of which the bill has been, I think it's been tempered with or rejected, or is still lying there. So all they are saying is that they are all trying their best of means to make sure that they regulate social media. That is what it means, what they are trying to do. So if you ask me, I would say that, okay, although there are elements of abuse of social media, fake news, hate speech, all these are there. There are things that they practice every now and then. But we have laws to take care of fake news. We have laws to take care of existing law. We have laws, such laws. We are not short of the law to regulate social media this thing, because, like, for instance, if I decide to slander you or to malign you now, don't we have laws?
Of course we do. We
have those laws. There's this Jaruma woman that a libelous accusation against Regina Daniel, and she's now in awaiting trial in Suleja prison. So if we don't have that kind of law, do you think she will be arrested? So we have those laws. If you write unsubstantiated claim against somebody, those laws are there. So that is it. So, but government is like trying to, like, before you post anything on Facebook, government should have to censor it before Facebook will approve and post it. That is what government is trying to do. They are trying to, like, to create a kind of a kind of gap between Nigerians on social media, and to interface between Nigerians on social media and those social media companies. So we have a very long way to go. But if Nigerians will do the right things, I don't think there will be need for government trying to regulate what we do. Because by the time government starts regulating what we do or what we say, that freedom of speech, they are taking it away from us. It means Nigeria is sliding towards police state. You understand? So it means Nigeria is like trying to, like, become China, North Korea, and some other countries be under despot rulers. So that is what it means. You understand? So let's see how Nigerians take it.
Well, the federal government has refuted reports that it's planned to conduct free DNA tests for Nigerians. Well, according to reports, the Minister of State for Health, Dr. Olorum Mbe Mamora, denied the report on Wednesday in a short statement on Monday. A Nigerian Twitter user at Ecolos claimed that the Minister of Health, Dr. Osagie Inyeri, said DNA tests will be done for free in every government hospital from June. Well, the claim has been widely circulated on Facebook, Twitter, and WhatsApp, while many Nigerian social media users have expressed different reactions to the post. Reacting, Senator Mamora said the claim that the Minister of Health said that there will be free DNA tests for all Nigerians in government hospitals from June is false and baseless. it's really
you see there is recently there is this campaign on social media for DNA
tests. Yes,
so I believe that the owner of that
was
Twitter
just joking,
was just like trying to catch his own cruise.
Because we have a lot of women giving children to their husbands that are not their.
So what he's saying is that there will be free DNA tests. So
from June.
Don't be afraid of the cost. You can you and your wife, your spouse, just walk there and just do your test. So you understand. And some Nigerians will take it serious. They'll just say, this thing is let this man not say we should go out for DNA test for our children. No. But Dayo, to me, this is uncalled for.
Yeah.
You understand? Do we take it like a family losing value in what the family stand for, or a kind of immorality taking over the society? Because today you see the infidelity among the married couple is becoming so high. You understand? The man is outside there, is lying to his wife that he has a conference somewhere, he will end up in a hotel. You understand? Last time there was one incident that the man took drugs when he was expecting a girl in Asaba. He was a man that based here. He ended up in Asaba, whereas he's supposed to be somewhere, and he died. So such incidents is so rampant. Now, what is happening in our society? I think the religious houses, the mosque and the churches, they need to do more of the teaching, because the aspect of life is only the religious body that can bring aspect of religion to at least create that discipline back in us. You understand? Today now, if you go to on social media, you hear some advocate, some people advocating, championing this cause that look, if your husband cheats, you too cheat. You understand? So you understand. So you discover that a lot of paternity issues is going on around. You understand?
And if we have a lot of them, right now, each of them we have one or two reasons of doing that.
Certainly there must be reasons.
Really,
you understand?
Reasons.
There's no any reason. You know, one thing about family, one thing about couple, one thing about marital issue is about action and reaction. You understand? How the man's action and the reaction from the woman. If you take views of people, of women on the social media, I think the most thing, if there's anything that disturbs them most, is when their man cheats. So you understand that the older generation of women, not that they are not aware of cheating, but the society then didn't give them that much voice, didn't give them that opportunity for them to speak out. Unlike our own present generation, whereby there is social media, if the woman within her family level, her own family, immediate family, for her father's house, there are things that she will go to say, okay, mommy, advise me. This is what's happening. The mommy says, shh, don't talk, and she will not talk. The father too will do the same thing. Then she will end up on social media to air her views, and the society will sympathize with her. Some will advise her. Some will give her contrary advice. Some will give her the advice that will help her. Some will give her advice that will end up breaking her homes. That is what is happening today. But I believe religious houses, they must have to wake up and do their work.
Well, sometimes that kind of issue don't happen because the man cheats. at times a lady can push a child to a man because probably the man she was dating before she met this guy that wants to marry her impregnated her, and he doesn't want to collect the pregnancy.
Like the case of Nebu.
Or she yes, and or so, he doesn't. He's not a good person.
Yeah. So they do himself. I think somehow he end up that somehow he was like accusing his wife of cheating. So at the end of the day, he end up conducting DNA tests for his children. And he discovered that his first child wasn't his. And again, so and the lady said, "Look, that I never knew that I was pregnant. I was actually dating someone before
I met you.
So you see, such scenario exists. But the aspect that I don't really like, we're on a public TV. I'm not supposed to say it so, but I will have to say it. Lately, if you observe, there is this campaign pushing for single mothers. The way, it's not like I'm condemning the single mothers. I'm not condemning them. They are human beings. They are lovely. Their scenario situation create that. But a situation whereby you see some of them saying that, look, what do you need a man for? Be a single mother and live your independent life. So it shows that our society is eroding from that moral value. You understand? So we should keep on preaching and sensitizing ourselves on moral value. All this is about worldly life. So we should think about hereafter, the consequences of our action hereafter. You understand? DNA test is not supposed to be there, but DNA test is necessitated due to cases of infidelity that is on the increase. You understand? So, and I believe that more homes will be subjected to shock to the extent of break due to this incident. Like this particular guy now that is saying this thing now. It's just that couples that will not come out to express their this and say, okay, but you discover that man that is guilty, that woman that is guilty of insincerity to her marriage, the moment she hears something like this, it's like that fear will enter into her. You understand? So for this part of the world, we will believe that man is naturally polygamous. No, it's not about that. It's about your commitment. Because I still stand by my words that, look, once a man is faithful to his wife, that woman, whether he's rich or not, that woman will support him. But once a woman senses small iota of insincerity in you, that trust will become, there will be break in the trust she has for you. And you understand, I'm sorry to say this, you're a woman. Women at times, they are irrational. So you understand, a man will think twice before he do something. A man could be having a side chick somewhere, but he will still be thinking about how he put his wife first before the side chick. But you understand, that moment that man, you abuse that trust, that woman could go to any length. You understand? That is why you see incidences of saying a woman will stab her husband here and there like that. We
have a lot of them.
A lot of things is going on. A lot of things. So those of you that you are, apart from you being in the media, you are, I used to call you a church girl. So, so some of these things you have to work on it and discuss it. Even within the secular world, you discuss it. Even back to the church, you educate people around it. There's no need for DNA tests, but there's need now because of where we have found ourselves. You understand? So if you want to adopt a child, you know quite okay that you are adopting that child from your heart. But when a situation whereby a woman is like pushing a child that is not yours to you, Dayo, do you know what it is? Do you know what it is? All along, so maybe suddenly there will be need for you to say that, or somebody will answer. One thing is this: the people around you, they will know. One way or the other way, they will know that this guy is not the father of this child. But tongues will be wagging here and there, but you will not know until maybe
12 years later.
12 years later, somebody is coming to tell you, and then you find yourself in the hospital. You said, okay, like this, and you confirm this thing. Take the case of the former FCMB MD and that lady and that young man, is it Tunde or what, that died. Can you imagine? Two lovely daughters Then he now realized that they are now his daughters. Haba. Do you understand how painful it is? So it's sad. It's sad. So we should look for solution. The solution now is people like you. Sensitization. Preach. Teach. Eventually, through that sensitization, that teaching, someone is having problem. A lady somewhere is thinking, is having divided minded to say, okay, should I do this? Should I cave into this man that is disturbing me? After all, my husband is doing. But the moment you sensitize, your program, you just heard about your program, you said, thank God, this lady has solved my problem. Let me go back to my house. Understand? So I believe sensitization eventually will change things. We are not in the Western world, even in the Western world.
It won't change all, but it can do something.
It can do something.
Thank you all for staying with us on Morning Briefing Aspheric TV today. I am Dayo Lujo Ekuni.
And I remain Mustafa Abdulmalik.
Uncle Mustilala. Do have a wonderful day. And don't forget to follow us on all our social media handles. Facebook at Aspheric News, Instagram at aspheric.news, and Twitter at Aspheric News. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and click on the notification button. Thank you.